Accountability. Ah, yes. Such a great thing that nobody wants. But we need to hold each other accountable. Amen? But we should also welcome this. But how often do we? Sometimes Randy will correct me on something and say, Brandon, you shouldn't have said that, or you shouldn't have done that, or whatever. And at first I get bothered about it, I get mad, and then later on I have time to think about it. Maybe she was right. We don't like being rebuked. We don't. I don't think I've only met one person who welcomed rebuke. Any other time that rebuke was offered or correction, there's always frustration, defensiveness, justification. It's all the time, even in myself. It's hard, folks, but we should think about accountability in this regard. I'm going to go ahead and read you a little quick story. Two men were fishing in a stream when they noticed that a nearby bridge was falling apart. Every time a vehicle would drive across it, another piece would fall, and the entire bridge would shake dangerously. Finally, after a large truck passed over, the bridge completely fell apart in the middle. The two fishermen knew that if a car came around the bend, the driver would never know that the middle of the bridge was gone. The whole thing could come crashing down, damaging the vehicle and injuring the driver, maybe even killing him. One of the men looked at his friend and said, "We've got to do something. What would be the Christian thing to do?" His friend thought for a moment and replied, "Build a hospital." That don't sound right, does it? It seems that many Christians would rather build a hospital than put up a warning sign. We tend to deal with things after the fact instead of taking preventative action. We often allow a person to come to a very bad state before we get involved. Nowhere is this more clearly seen than in the absence of protective accountability. That's how we need to look at accountability. We need to look at it as somebody trying to protect us or prevent us from harm. Maybe it's our personal harm. Maybe it's the harm of others. Maybe it's the harm of our relationship with God. But that's how we need to look at every piece of accountability, every correction, every rebuke,